your role as a performance analyst. What does it entail?
Yeah, basically, my role as a performance analyst is actually to bring objectivity, especially on performance. In modern football, the most closest person to a head coach of a team is the performance analyst.
Right now in Nigeria, the Nigerian league to be precise, what level do you think, how has coaches been able to utilize people like you in the league? Do you think it's something that is common?
Now, the major problem we're having in Nigerian Premier League is, firstly, we have the need to improve in terms of administrative. Maybe before the season ends, you hear that there's a mutual termination of contract between the clubs and the coach.
I just want to understand, how does contract work in the Nigerian league? Is there even contract in the first place? You are someone that has been involved. Maybe you can explain this to us. Welcome to another episode of the Parity Podcast. Today I have with me Idris Antala Okeke. He is a professional, ex-professional footballer, and he has a CAF D license. He's a man of many things. He's a data analyst, and their type are kind of rare to find in Nigerian football. You hardly see someone that is trying to analyze football data in this country, and I'm really excited to have him with me today. He has done many seminars, many workshops, trained a lot of people, and I know, because I've been in contact with him for a while now, I decided to kind of invite him. Let's just get an insight into Nigerian football, into like the Nigerian league in particular. That's what I really want to talk about, because he has been involved with different clubs, and most recently, I think earlier this year, he worked with CAF to train some people in all the way in Ethiopia. So it's an honor to have you today as our guest in this podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice to be here. I really appreciate the moment.
Thank you. So quickly, I want to start by just asking you, because if you really want to understand someone, you need to know about their journey, how they started.
The journey has been quite lovely and then stressful, but at the same time, when you set a standard for yourself, and when you are aiming to get to somewhere, you need to put everything together for you to actually get there. Well, I started my career as a footballer, a goalkeeper to be precise, with Nigeria United, Young Stars, Top Squad, Nigeria United, and then also by the special grace of God, I was part of the national under-17 team. That's a Golden Eaglet in 2008 when we hosted 2009 World Cup here in Nigeria. So after then, a little bit of injury, players' career injury always comes in. So I decided that let me go back to school, and then from there I started picking interest, because I do a lot of research. I do a lot of findings, especially in the aspect I'm interested in. I'm interested in sports science, and then I do more research on it. So I came across someone on LinkedIn who actually led me into performance analysis.
Wow.
And then that's where the journey actually started. And then I make my research. I find out that the modern football, the modern trends in the football nowadays is all about performance analysis. And then most of the top clubs in Europe, this is what they do. You find a club that are having 5, 4, 6 performance analysts under them. So, but coming to our own environment, I found out that we are liking this particular trend down here in Nigeria. So that's why I decided. I did a course on it online, and then I have people who are guiding me over there. Like I said, I met someone on LinkedIn. He pushed me, he sent me a lot of materials, and then he gave me links for me to register in some institutions that are training people on performance analysis. And then I started making progress towards that. Well, I decided that I need to explore. So that's when I reach out to some clubs down here in Nigeria. We have a lot of challenges. If people don't know the benefit of what you're bringing forward to them, they find it very difficult to accept. It took me a lot more energy for me to convince the then coach of Niger Tornadoes. That's when we were in NNL, Coach Abubakar Bala. He accepted that I should come in and then give him a supporting system on the technical bench. So that's where the journey started. And since then, the rest is history.
Yeah, I think I have questions regarding being a performance analyst. But before I dive into that, I was watching a video on YouTube and I saw Brentford.
Yeah.
Brentford, that's the Premier League club in England. Yeah. They said they rely heavily on data to make their decisions.
Yeah.
I think they had about 4 data analysts. They were sitting down with the coach. They were presenting the data to him, and he was making decisions based on those data, which was something maybe a few years back. Stuff like that were not common. And the coach even went ahead to say that data is heavily part of why they are very, very successful. Because when you look at it, data is more of numbers. And how does that translate into football? It's quite fascinating. Yeah. So I just want you to explain your role as a performance analyst. What does it entail?
Yeah, basically my role as a performance analyst is actually to bring objectivity, especially on performance. Any detail, any little detail, no matter how little it is, that can improve the club performance, the player performance based on individual performance, and then the general performance the general team performance as well. So under performance analysis, we have different categories. We have the main performance analyst in most clubs, which is the head of analysis department. We have data analyst, and then we have tactical analyst, we have video analyst, we have opposition analyst. That's the scouts.
Yes.
Yeah, you send scouts to go and watch your next opponent, and then they will come back with information. Yeah. Judging from the video you are talking about, I want to tell you this: the most closest in modern football, the most closest person to a head coach of a team is the performance analyst, because there are things the coaches cannot see on the touchline, but with the presence of the analyst, he can dissect all this information bit by bit, based on data. Like after a game, you need to know how many shots on target your players were able to achieve, how many crossings, what's the number of touches in the final thought, and maybe how many crossings, out of the crosses which are successful and then which are unsuccessful, and then the ball possession. So all these things are being put together by the analyst at the end of the match. In most cases, even before the match gets to an end, the coach can relate. In most of these European soccer we watch, you see sometimes a coach will just move back and then have a one-on-one with
consult
with the performance analyst. You mostly see them with tabs.
Yes.
So all the activities, all the events, all the metrics are being registered, are being tagged, are being analyzed for the purpose of improving the team based on individual and then general performance of a team. And then that is what is actually driving performance success in the world of modern football as we are talking today, because even FIFA itself is making it mandatory that every club should have a data room, performance analyst. And then every club that really want to be purposeful with what they are doing, they need to introduce this, and then they need to invest into it. Though in Nigeria, it's a little bit difficult because of the high cost of the gadgets, investing in it, and then for the fact that, like I said earlier, a lot of people that doesn't understand what the club tend to achieve, the impact. Yeah. They don't know about the impact, but it's actually driving success. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So it's highly important for every club to have match analysis departments. Apart from coaching departments, you have analysis departments, and then every coach should also be an analyst, because you need to understand what the analyst is actually explaining to you, or whatever information is bringing on the table. You need to have the basic knowledge of analysis, and that's why we are encouraged to work close with the coaches.
I saw that you also have like a proper coaching license, which means you qualify to even handle a club, which means it goes beyond being analyzing performance. It's like a general understanding of the game.
Yeah.
So I believe what you just said regarding maybe if a coach doesn't really understand how what's the role of an analyst, it will be difficult for him to use the data to make informed decisions. Now, I know it's definitely challenging, but right now in Nigeria, the Nigerian league to be precise, what level do you think, how has coaches been able to utilize people like you in the league? Do you think it's something that is common?
Yeah, before now, this aspect is not that common before now. But going forward, few clubs or few coaches are beginning to see the impact. And then also few clubs that really understand what they are doing, or what they really want it, they are trying to understand. They are making effort to introduce or invest in performance analysis. I happens to work with a few coaches in this country. This particular profession has given me an opportunity to get close to most coaches. A lot of coaches in the Nigerian football scene have been contacting me due to, in some cases of maybe they needed some information about some players or a particular club, etc. Now, we have few clubs in Nigeria who are rightly invested in performance analysis, and then it's really paying off. I'll tell you this now. The present MPFL season, if you check the league table, you see Remo Stars are on top.
Yes.
Remo Stars are one of the clubs that are purposeful with
what they do.
With what they do. They invested hugely in performance analysis. I have a close contact with their performance analyst, and then I was opportune to see how far they have gone in terms of performance analysis, and they're taking it with almost seriousness. So we also have few coaches that have interest in performance analysis, but for the fact that the club administrator cannot actually make available the resources for them, so it becomes very, very difficult. Now, instead of them bringing in someone to work as a performance analyst, now they would choose maybe from the assistant to give them a little support, but that is not actually what we are talking about. Now, for you to become a performance analyst, number one, you must be trained professionally. You must possess the necessary requirements, knowledge, and then you must have all these basic of video analysis, tactical analysis, opposition analysis. Now, the Nigerian Premier League is actually growing, developing, and then we are making effort to see that we introduce this performance analysis to a lot of clubs, a lot of coaches, a lot of teams, so that they can be able to like get the best out of the team, because it brings out the best from the players,
yes,
and then it brings out the best you as a coach. It brings out the best from you as a coach, because sometimes most of the job from the background are being done by the performance analyst. But we are hoping with time, a lot of clubs, a lot of coaches will see reason for them to go into investing in performance analysis, because this is actually the future. Apart from Remo Stars, we have clubs like the club I presently work with, Bayelsa United, are trying to like make same efforts, though I just recently joined them from Niger Tornadoes. And then we also have clubs like Sporting Lagos, though they are in NNL, which I was also once in contact with their match analyst. And then we also have few clubs, but I can tell you out of 100% of the clubs we have in the MPFL, just 20 to 30 are those that are investing in performance analysis. But we are hoping that from now till next season, we'll have more clubs.
You made mention of Remo Stars, and when I look at them and I see their structure, I feel this is like the ideal Nigerian modern club in Nigeria. Not just their performance, but it shows the way they pay attention to like little details, how they have been successful over the years. And I think going to represent Nigeria in the CAF Champions League Continental, but even though they've not been able to like scale through to maybe the proper group stage, but I believe it's time, and they'll definitely get it right. Now, I'm a big football fan. I love football, and when it comes to talking about football, especially our local league, I like talking about it, but there is this level of I don't like, if I watch like the English Premier League and I come back to watch the Nigerian league, there's this big gap between the level, and I believe there are some problems, and the league needs to improve. It's not that the talents are not there. I believe the talents are there, but maybe there is no proper knowledge to even guide these guys to go all the way to become their very best. What do you think are some of the bottlenecks, the biggest challenges in the league? Why maybe some clubs don't get to perform the way they are supposed to perform?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I believe we are still growing. The Nigerian Premier League has been there for a while now, and then I really want to let you know that in every season we will try to, they're making efforts to improve from one stage to another, even though we are not getting it
fast.
we are not getting it fast, and then we are not there yet. I believe in Africa we don't even belong to. Yeah, we belong within the first 20 leagues in Africa, but I'll tell you that efforts has been made by the present IMC of the MPFL. Those that are managing the MPFL, effort has been made by them to introduce a lot of things that can be able to help make the league meet up with some other advanced league in the globe. Now, the major problem we are having in Nigerian Premier League is, firstly, we have the need to improve in terms of administratively. Administratively, there's a need for them to improve. I'm talking about generally from the board. Yeah. Administratively, there's a need for improvement. And then also coming down to the clubs, we have the issue of resources finance, where you have coaches are sometimes complaining, salaries, bonuses, etc. And then that's one of the motivational measure to improve, to perform better. And then also in terms of training and then retraining is another issue. Things that need to be given attention. Training the coaches, training even the club administrators themselves, and then even the backroom staffs, because everybody must be at higher standards before we can be able to achieve our aim. And then also another important thing is the media coverage. Yeah, you see, the EPL has made name due to the media coverage, activities. And then MPFL, though the present board of Elegbe, they are making effort to, they were able to secure TV rights, where we are able to see some of the MPFL matches on TV, or even on phones, etc. But there is also need for them to do more, because even at presently they were able to cover some matches. You can't watch all the matches. Yes. Yeah, but EPL we can be able to watch almost all the matches as they've been played. So the media aspect is another thing. So even the media managers from all the clubs, they also need to undergo training for them to improve on what they do. Because I find it funny when I see some media reports on clubs on social medias. Sometimes you look at them and then you laugh. Sometimes you look at them and then ask questions. Does this club really know what they do? Especially in terms of graphics, especially in terms of video clips, video coverage, video footages, etc. There's a need for us to improve, because we cannot even get there if we don't raise our standards. And then also another thing is the welfare of players also need to be improved. Improve a lot. And then the security aspects, because we have challenges in most stadiums. Where you have security challenges, where referees were being intimidated, even the opposition teams were being intimidated, and then etc. Then another bigger aspect that I must mention here is the infrastructural aspects. We have clubs in the MPFL who are actually borrowing stadiums where they play matches. I wouldn't want to mention names, but we have more clubs in the MPFL. And if we want to go by standards, there are more stadiums in this country that does not actually meet up with the standards, even though they are being approved to host their matches in those stadiums. So this infrastructural issue is one of the biggest challenges in the MPFL. Not just the stadium, even the facilities like introduction of VAR and then other infrastructural measures. They need to actually be improved so that we can have a standard league. I believe if the MPFL board can actually do more on these aspects, we can be able to get there. Talking about the talent, we have talent, abundant talent. And if you make your research, you find out that there are some players, a lot of players that goes out of this country, and once they go out, they do well. Yes. In other countries. But when they come back here, they start struggling. Why? Because of the environment they found themselves. Talking about finance, financial aspect, that's a player welfare. Talking about the infrastructure, equipment they train with, you can tell a lot of clubs play matches. At the end of the day, even to have a common ice bath, they don't have the facilities for ice baths. So you see, all these things are what really help players to improve. What really help players to know that to keep them healthy. Yeah, it keep them healthy, and then also. Talking about healthy as well, nutrition is another aspect. Physiotherapies, some clubs don't even go through all these measures. And then even the medical aspects. Some clubs, you find out that a player will play a match, he will be nursing an injury, but you will see him in the next game without proper check based on the health development. So all these aspects are, I think, the major challenges we are facing in the Nigerian Premier League. And I believe if they can be arrested, I believe we can go far.
Okay, so talking about players, there was a time I think I saw an interview of Brownie there, who's an ex-Super Eagles international. I think he's playing for Eimba right now, and he said in that video, I quote, maybe I might not quote right, he said the level he has like played before, the Nigerian league maybe in the past or so, and that the structure back then was even better than what he's seeing currently. Yeah. And even with the way the players recover, how they train, how they prepare for matches, he said everything is just so poor. And I think you made some of the points very, very clear. But I also want to touch upon the issue of like player uncertainty when it comes to playing for Nigerian league, because you can just see a player playing this season, maybe even performing really well, and next year you're not going to see him there again. Maybe he's somewhere or he doesn't even have a club. I feel that is the biggest factor why the level of player development has stagnated in many cases, because I feel these players don't have proper contracts. And for a very long time, I've tried to wrap my head around understanding how contracts work with Nigerian league clubs, between players and clubs. Because we can see Chelsea, for example, we can see players signing for 9 years. Let's say somebody like Cole Palmer with the level of talent and him signing 9 years. That means Chelsea can build a project around Cole Palmer for a very long time. But when it comes down to us, I can just see a club signing 11 players today, and next week they are discarding 13 players. So I believe that has played a role in bringing down a lot of clubs. Maybe they can have a very, very good squad that maybe is progressing, and if they invest over time, if they invest in those players over time, they can lead them to glory. But because of the uncertainty, I just want to understand, how does contract work in the Nigerian league? Is there even contract in the first place? You are someone that has been involved. Maybe you can explain this to us.
Yes, I wouldn't want to go deeper, but based on what I know, there are contracts in Nigerian league. Okay. But one thing I'll tell you is that those contracts need to be respected. Yeah, we have issues of inconsistency in Nigerian league, especially in terms of players aspect, even the coaching aspects. You find out that today a coach will be hired, maybe before the season ends. You hear that there's a mutual termination of contract between the clubs and the coach, and then that will affect consistency in that club. And then also, a lot of players in this country, they have the talent. They'll perform better in this season. But next season, just like you mentioned, you find them out of the space. This is one of the results of inconsistency. Now, a coach will be brought in. He will assemble a team. He will prepare a team. But as soon as the league starts, before they go far, the club will end the coach's contract. And then another coach will be brought into the club with a different philosophy, with different players. And when it gets to maybe mid-season or another season, you see almost 60 to 70% of the players that were there before, they will be laid off. And then you find most of them clubless. They will move to another clubs due to the fact that there's no consistency in terms of management. Not just in coaches aspect, even in managerial aspects. Governments also have a lot of role to play here. Though I understand in Nigerian scene, a lot of clubs depends on government's funding. A lot of clubs are being funded by government, and that's why we have these major challenges about inconsistency. This government will come in, they'll come in with their different board. Maybe within that 4 years, they will be able to change like 3, 4, 5 different boards of that particular club. And then each board that comes in, they have their own idea, they have their own philosophy, they have their own personnel that they really want to bring in. And that will definitely affect performance. And then also, there are instances that we see a player will be doing well, scoring goals in the MPFL, and then next season he wouldn't want to stay in Nigerian league. These are one of the challenges too, and that's why you see, if Remo were able to win the league this season, we'll be expecting them to perform better in continental
Yes.
competition. But at the end of the day, I'll tell you, 70 to 80% of the players that won the league, you won't find them in that club playing for Remo Stars in Continental. So that's another issue of rebuilding. They have to rebuild another team. So one of the major issues we have in this country is, in terms of Nigerian clubs, Premiership clubs, is that issue of planning, long-term planning. Most of the clubs don't actually have.
I think that's a major problem.
Long-term planning. We don't have this avenue of having a long-term planning. If you can bring in a coach and sign a coach for like 5 years contract, 6 years contract, you are supposed to respect that contract till that 5 years. And then a coach will be struggling in his first year, but believe me, in the second or third year, he will do better if there's a proper long-term planning.
Yes.
But when you bring in a coach, maybe he's not really doing well in the first season, maybe in the first leg of the MPFL season, and then the club administrator will feel like, we need to bring in another coach. They will call the coach, they will sit down, and then they will terminate his contract. Another person will be brought upon, and then that will actually affect the club performance generally. And then this contract, it extends down to players. You see a club will register in MPFA you are allowed to register about 30 to 35 players with at least 2-3 opportunities for you to register developmental players. And then you have a contract with this player. You sign a player for like 2 seasons, 3 seasons. But at the end of the day, within the mid-season, you find a club will lay off some players, and that is against the contractual agreement. And then we have gotten to the era where some players are beginning to understand that they have rights to be respected. They have that right to be respected in terms of contractual agreement. And then some of them are even taking up this as they are taking legal action on it. I've witnessed cases of some clubs who are made to pay fine. I think, there was this player from, is it Ghana or Niger, that Katsina United ended his contract, and then at the end of the day, he had to take them to FIFA. Is it FIFA? Yeah, they took it up, and then the Katsina United was asked not to sign any player, not to register any player until they settle that player that they laid off. Because if you sign a contract with a player, when you are sacking that player, you are supposed to pay him upfront before you can terminate his contract. The same thing applies to coaches. So if these contractual agreements can be respected, I think it will help us to achieve this consistency in our league. So to answer your question, there's a contract in
place.
Yeah, in terms of our signing players in most of the clubs, coaches, there are contract. But the issue here is that most club administrators, they don't respect contract because they believe they have the power, and it is because of the fact that most clubs are dependent on government for funding, and then government, they can decide whatever they want, and then they can sack who they want, and then they can bring in who they want at any given time. But it is not supposed to be so. According to FIFA standard, when you sign a player for a 5-year contract, he must complete that 5-year contract. If you are terminating his contract before 5 years, definitely you are supposed to compensate that player. Unlike how most of our clubs are doing it, they will sack players without compensating. And that's why some administrators have gotten this idea that if you are signing a coach in Nigerian Premier League, most club administrators, they don't sign beyond 2 years because of this fear. Okay. And that is also affecting consistency. Even players, most of players are being given 1 year contract to 2 years contract, and that is not development. We are not developing football if we are going to continue our contractual agreement based on 1 year, 2 years contract. It doesn't make sense.
I'm actually bringing this contractual issue up because the club I support, I'm a big fan of Niger Tornadoes, and this season we've been performing exceptionally in the league. We have a bunch of talented young footballers, but each time I go to watch them, I just get this impression that this next year I will not see this guy here, next year I'm not going to see this person here. But I also tell myself that these are the type of people that we need to build. Maybe build 2-3 years with the next 3 years, the next 4 years. Let's build with these guys because these guys are good. Maybe we check where we have lapses to improve, then we just bring additional players to fill in those roles. Because I think Tornadoes has one of the highest away wins in the league this season, which is very impressive, which is something that I think has never happened.
Yeah, it has never happened before.
It goes to tell you that, okay, there are talents in this place. There are talent that can even challenge for the league. Exactly. But I don't want to go there next season when it starts and I will not see those star guys. We are now starting afresh again. Yeah. So it confuses me a lot.
Yeah, that's the major issue we are facing. I believe this season, Niger Tornadoes has one of the best in terms of recruitment. Yes. They have one of the best in almost all the 20 MPFL clubs. And then you can even attest to that one of their players is even making the Super Eagles. So that's to tell you how good they are. And then the coaches also, they've been trying their best. And then the management, I'll give them the kudos. Just like you say, you are a fan of Tornadoes. I'm also a big fan of Tornadoes. Even though I've worked with them, I know how dedicated the present management are in terms of achieving success. So you see, this issue of consistency, it will definitely affect the club if they don't try their best to keep these players. If they can keep this set of players for the next 2 seasons, believe me, Tornadoes can go on and win the Premier League. Just like you said, they have one of the best away records this season. Tornadoes and then Remo Stars, they have 4 away wins, and then 1 draw each. So at this level, we are expecting to see Tornadoes at the first, maybe at the first 2-3 top teams in the MPFL. But due to the fact that some of our games at home, home games, we are not able to get it right, and then it also affects our record on our standing on the table. Yeah, the point. So if assuming we're able to get most of the points at home, I believe we will be rubbing shoulders with Remo Stars at the top of the table. So talking about players in Tornadoes this season, there are a bunch of talented players who are hungry, players who are willing to make impact. And then believe me, most of these players are newbies in MPFL.
Yeah, I made my research and I saw that some of them are even directly from the academy.
And
if you look at the age profile again of the players, you see that these guys are young. So these are people that we can actually build for the future.
Yeah.
But I don't like that impression of me going to watch their game and I'll see young guys perform really exceptional, and then my mind will not start telling me that next season this guy is not going to be here. Don't attach yourself too much to him.
Yeah,
there are some new attackers, new midfielders, and even new defenders that are really good. And I think part of the problem with the away form, with the home form, to me, what I think is because there is no the home ground. There is no like stable home ground. This week is going to be in Nasarawa. Next week is going to be in Kaduna. When they want to televise it, I heard they have to go to Kaduna whenever they want to televise the game because our stadium cannot accommodate. Yeah, our stadium cannot accommodate them. Start times coming to, I think they are
in terms of TV coverage.
Start times cannot use our stadium.
Yeah, the stadium is not TV friendly. So another thing I will mention to you here is that apart from the club administrators not doing their own part to keep those players, another major setback is the players' managers. Yeah, today I will bring a player in Tornadoes, and then maybe the player is not being treated well. Maybe I will be needing the management to actually increase his salary. If they don't do that, if I have a better club that are willing to give him more money, I will rather take him to that other club. So most of these managers, agents, they are actually contributing towards that inconsistency. Tornadoes have a bunch of talent presently. I believe we can have a better outing next season. You can see this season we've been winning more matches, especially away matches. And then if you can be able to maintain our home records by next season, if these boys are still around, being given a good welfare, even though the management are trying all their best, if they can continue from where they stop and then improve more, by next season, I see Tornadoes are picking up a continental tickets by God's grace. Yeah,
that I would like to watch it, and probably you should also be in Mina here so that we'll go and watch good football.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about when it comes to the media aspect. Honestly, when I see some clips of clubs in the league, there are even academies in Nigeria that I see their clips online, and the level, the quality that they have, it can't even be compared to some of the clubs. So it just kind of. I just find it difficult that a club that is playing in the Nigerian Premier League cannot put together a good media team to kind of put themselves out there. Like it has been very difficult, and I know at the end of the day to still go back to funding, but to me I feel there are a lot of people in the system that are not in sync with what is really going on in the media space, because it's not something very difficult. We can just look outside and try to model other clubs. And you also spoke about media being one of the bottlenecks of the Nigerian league. What do you think can be done in that aspect?
Yeah, like we keep mentioning, investment. There are clubs who really need to understand that the world nowadays is being moved by media,
social
media activities, and then that's the best way you can sell yourself, your clubs, and then that's the best way you can attract investors. I once received a call from someone that he needed a club that have a standard media activities, that I should recommend a club for him within northern Nigeria, to be precise, that he need a club that have the better media outputs. And I looked around. The only club I can find is one academy in Kano. But believe me, even at that, he said that's not enough. It's not up to what they are looking out for. So we need to understand this, even from the MPFL board. They need to actually put that into check. Like every club must have a standard in terms of media activities, and then the media managers too themselves, they need to upgrade themselves, because I've been opportune to witness a lot of media in the MPFL who cannot even operate a system on their own. You know, that's a kind of a slap. You're a media officer, you cannot operate a computer, and then you cannot even on your own design a perfect graphic. Though I understand that in most clubs, in some top clubs, there are people who belong to that department, graphic design, video footages, etc. Then we have the main media manager. I believe he coordinates almost everything. And then another thing is actually bringing people who are not competent to do the job. Yeah, that's gonna affect your media outputs.
I believe in most of the clubs, it's just people that are incompetent. Handling the whole stuff, and they don't want maybe new people with fresh ideas.
Yes,
they don't really want to bring them on board. But social media is just a wide landscape, and I even see clubs make revenue off social media.
Yes.
Yeah, and when I look at it, I only see clubs like Sporting Lagos. Clubs are around those west. Those are the ones that you just see their media outlet, and you know, these people, they know what they are doing. Especially Remo Stars. I think there is Beyond Limits. That's their academy, if I'm right.
Yes, yeah.
And you can
Beyond
see how
Limits.
they are really trying to push that academy, and they get a lot of high quality players that they put the light on. And I think some of those players are not even in Nigeria from Beyond Limits. I think there was one that went to play one tournament outside Nigeria, and at the end of the day, he don't even follow the team to come back. A lot of clubs were all over him, and that came directly from the videos that club was posting. So I believe even on the player side, there was a time I was having an engagement with someone playing in the Nigerian league, and I told him that, senior man, you yourself, you don't try to put yourself out there. You rely on people to come and do it for you. I told him that you have to find a way to promote yourself if you really want to go far in this thing. Maybe not just to stay here. Maybe you want to go outside, go somewhere. You can use videos of yourself.
Exactly.
Post clips. Post your own videos on the internet. People will see you, and if you just do something, and they'll be impressed, and before you know, you'll be someone outside Nigeria will be calling you.
Able to catch up with.
Yeah. So I think players on their own need to also invest
in themselves
in the aspect of this media by putting themselves out there.
You know, some of the issues some of our players are having is this should I say greediness? Imagine you are collecting 400,000 naira as a salary. You are collecting 300,000 naira. Even if it's 100,000 of your salary, how much will it cost you to pay someone to do PR for you, like monthly? You can put someone on the media aspect, like every month you give him 10,000 naira. How much will it cost you? But most of our players, they believe that their play on the pitch is enough. But it's beyond that. Sometimes you need to sell yourself, and then how do you sell yourself? You need to be present in the media aspect. You need to get some of these guys, some of these media guys to promote you, and that will open a lot of doors for people to actually see what you're doing. And then you imagine we have players who are doing very well in the local league, but they are not present on the media. And then when it comes to this issue of selecting these best players during the League Bloggers Awards, they can be recognized. Imagine we have a player in Nasarawa United, who happens to be the top highest goal scorer in the MPFL. But media-wise, he's been quiet. Yeah, except if some people from outside like try to.
That's what I was saying. That they depend on people. They depend to do the work. They don't take that.
But ideally, seriously. You can have someone like under you. Tell him this is what I want, and this is when I want it. And then
when I was having that conversation with the person or with the player that I was having that conversation, I told him that you can just get an iPhone, do training clips of yourself, just post it online. Yeah, it's the quality must not be crazy. It must not be like.
Let me shock you again. There was this incident. A player is being needed in a particular country, and then the people that actually are requesting for him, instead of him going down there, they were requesting for his video footage. And then that's when the police started running hectare and scatter to look for someone that would do the video footage for him. You have played almost 3 seasons in Nigerian League, but you don't have video footages of yourself. You don't have your own video highlight.
How do they analyze themselves? So they rely on coaches to do everything.
They rely on coaches, and then most of these players, they find it difficult to go on individual training to actually improve themselves.
Yes.
When I was working with Niger Tornadoes, I work with a few players who, after every game, they walk up to me and then they try to get their videos and then we'll analyze it. Just 2 players, and believe me, these 2 players are not presently in this country. These 2 players, they are no longer in this country. They have a laptop. Each time we play a game, I will get the video footage from the camera guy, and then they'll come to my office. I'll download it to their. Sometimes we'll go even to the extent of creating highlights, clips for them. They will analyze it and then maybe try to find out where they have it right and then where they get it wrong, where they need to improve. Because even part of performance analysis, that is what we always tell coaches. Sometimes you don't just correct these guys by telling them you are supposed to do this in that yesterday match. This is what you did in that yesterday match that you are not supposed to do. Sometimes it's highly important you conduct this correctional analysis using video footages. You play that exactly point where the mistakes occur. Yeah. Because sometimes when you are trying to tell player, you are trying to correct some players, there are some of them, most of them are stubborn. They will tell you that it is not me, or maybe it wasn't what I did. But when they are seeing the video, it is highly clear for them. That's an evidence. So in terms of performance analysis, we always encourage coaches after every match, try to review your video footages with the players. Let them see their mistakes. Let them see where they did right and then where they did wrong. So that's what I keep encouraging most of young players who are around me. Always follow up. Individual training. Improve yourself in terms of shooting. You don't wait for coaches to actually give you everything in the training pitch, because the coaches have almost about 30-something players to cater for in the training program. And then again, you don't expect him to actually rely on you during the training. So, but most of our players, they feel their performance on the pitch is enough, but it is not enough. It is not even close to enough. You have to do extra work. You see the likes of Ronaldo, Messi, after training, they stay behind, or even before training, they come and then try to upgrade themselves.
So I think personally, I played football, and I don't want to say, I won't say I was average. I was quite good with it. Okay. And when I wanted to go pro, but it didn't work. So now that I'm kind of much grown, much experienced, if I take back, if I should get myself maybe younger, one thing I always tell myself is that I need to outwork everybody. That's the only way.
Exactly.
But back then we just go train, come back. That's all. And you're expecting to be better than you were yesterday. And
some players
it doesn't work
go
that way.
To the extent of hiring personal trainers.
Yes.
That's what they do out there. But when you tell our players, hire a personal trainer, pay him 20,000 naira a month, you say no. I did train in the pitch now.
I think the thing is football education. There needs to be a serious football orientation, going beyond just the normal, breaking the norm. That's what everyone needs in the league. To me, that's going by what we've talked. There's supposed to be a serious orientation. Tell these players that, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. Because why will I play football as a professional and I won't like to know my weaknesses and my strengths? If you don't know your weaknesses, how can you work on them to become better? How can you work on your strengths to get 100 times better? The footballers that we watch outside Nigeria, someone like Mo Salah, everyone knows his strengths.
Yeah.
And if you watch him today, he's using his strength to deliver. Tomorrow he's using it to deliver. You hardly see the weakness because he analyzes himself every day. Yeah. So I think players need more orientation.
They need. As a matter of fact, some clubs before the start of the season, I can tell you free. Remo Stars, they do that. They do give players orientation pre-season session. Some clubs does it. When I was with Tornadoes, we do it pre-season session. But I don't know if it's still going on now. Even mid-season, you do this session with players. Even some academies. Last month, I got a call from an academy in Suleja, Jawab Football Academy. Yeah. We went there and then trained some of the coaches, and then also so that they can impact more on
the players
based on modern trends in football. Because football is a dynamic game and
it's ever evolving.
Is always evolving. Presently, I am doing a program with CAF. The last 2 days ago, I got a call and I was asked, Idris, you did an analysis on Liverpool past games. Do you know more about the modern trends in football nowadays? Yeah, that was the question I was asked. And I was like, yeah, part of my reports, I tried to bring on some of their tactical stuff. They said, okay, go back to your reports and then go back to the video clips that you analyze and then try to find out what are Liverpool doing that are new into football and then try to identify those things. And then these are what some clubs are actually looking out for. That they needed to improve their team because, like we said, football, the way we play football in those days is different from the way we play it. Yes. Football is more scientific nowadays. There are some tactical moves that if you make them, they will result into goal. But in those days, we don't used to have that. I will take you an example like with Arsenal Football Club now. Arsenal, there's a set piece pattern they play that once they play it, if it didn't result to goal, it must surely get close to being a goal. But if they do, out of 5 set pieces, they might get 2 or 3. So these are some of the modern trends in football. There are some movement, there are some patterns, there are some tactical advances that when you make them, surely they will result into goals. So these are the modern trends in football that some coaches, most of our young coaches or even old coaches, they need to update themselves to know what do we need to do to improve this team based on modern trends. So that's the modern of football. And most of these things are being identified by match analysts.
Yeah. Thank you. It has been an honor to have you here, even though I don't want to tell you goodbye, but I believe you have to come back some other time, maybe when you are free. We'll invite you. There are a lot of things to discuss when it comes to football in Nigeria, and we only talked about a few things in this episode. I want to say a big thank you for coming, and we wish you all the best. And again, we hope to see you very soon. Thank you.